Hey, whoa, what's up, everybody? It is June 3rd, 2025, and it is the Daily Wrestling Hotline for Brass Ring Media. Man, I'm Dominic D'Angelo. If you weren't aware, I am one of the co owners of Brass Ring Media. I'm drinking a Prime right now. The time, as it stands, is 8:51 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't think I forgot about you guys for this daily hotline. I want to talk about something grand scope, grand poopah, grand scheme of everything. And it deals with WWE and the state of WWE. Obviously, we've had some releases happen, some notable releases when it comes to R-Truth, when it comes to Carlito. Both are gone, and both had a very positive, farewell from their colleagues and stuff like that. But also gave a very negative connotation with the goodwill towards fans and the talent in certain ways. There's plenty of feedback. Like Triple H, tweeted about the other day Vikingo winning a AAA Mega Championship, and was like trying to raise the stakes and promote the show that's happening when Worlds Collide on June 7th. And if you look at the replies, it's all R-Truth stuff. There's the fans are not happy, and as expected, Dave Meltzer reported that Triple H was in charge. The handle was the one who made the decision, and well, yeah, of course, he's the chief creative content officer, and so of course it was him. Like I don't get what people are thinking. Like sometimes the decisions, good or bad, no matter how you weigh them, like somebody makes them. Who you think makes them probably makes them those times, especially in something like WWE. Nick Khan wasn't pulling the trigger here. Ari Emanuel wasn't pulling the trigger here. It's Triple H. Like, who do you think is doing it? Of course. I mean, yeah, sure, it's reported, but I mean, yeah, what is everybody thinking here? Like, from a fan perspective, of course, it's Triple H. And that's not a knock against him whatsoever. I mean, you got to make tough decisions, and you can certainly make 100% case that R-Truth should be sticking around for WWE. But I think there's plenty of potential for him outside of WWE as well. I mean, if you caught rumor and innuendo today, I basically echoed the same sentiments that I want to see Ron Killings is who I want to see now. Maybe a spin with R-Truth in it, but mostly I want to see Ron Killings, TNA. That's what I want to see. Just a revamped and a new attitude kind of thing. You can still form humor in there, but I want a new Ron Killings happening. So I just think, yeah, but it does, though, from the thing of it, when you take a step back and look at WWE, how different it is even from a year ago. And then you take a step back, how different it is even from 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Boom. So many changes. But this is really where the rubber hits the road, it feels like. And what I mean by that is, okay, TKO, Endeavor purchased WWE, and, WWE formed a partnership with UFC, and now they're under the TKO banner. So, well, yeah, overall it's TKO. It's no longer WWE in stock. It is TKO. And, it made me think, especially what's going on and how, there's reports of talent being shocked or talent being disgruntled or certain things like that when it comes to how things have been kind of, maybe just, the shock of R-Truth leaving and other things happening too. I'm trying to think of some certain instances, but there's been some, reported, I guess, at least shock and concern, I suppose, from a talent perspective sometimes. And, but like what RVD said on the One of a Kind podcast the other day when we were recording, that he was not shocked. Nobody should ever be shocked by this, because this is what happens. It's disappointing, but it's what happens. And he's right. He said that he never felt like his job was secure there. uh, at any point in time. And like, it's an unfortunate part of the business, but it does make me think about the aspect of WWE becoming under the umbrella of TKO. And the analogy I'm really familiar with is Whole Foods being bought by Amazon. Why is that? Because my original shoot job and current shoot job, being forthright, is Whole Foods. I work at Whole Foods. I'm in the produce department. I started on the register way back in 2016. January 6th, 2016. Can you believe it? Holy smokes. That's when I started. And I was on the front end. It was horrible. I was getting really, really burnt out working on the registers. Not good with finances either. So yeah, there were some issues. I got transferred over to produce, thankfully, stayed there for like 5.5 years before, hey, the wrestling job started paying pretty well. And I got out of the Whole Foods business and got into more dirt sheet business full time. It was really cool. Only happened for a year and a half, but thankful for it. Actually, probably made it 2 years. So, but then times get hard times, steady, and you got to get back to stacking in apples. And that's exactly what I did. So, balancing that out, supplementing a little bit of the income with Whole Foods. But I remember I was there when Amazon bought Whole Foods, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to change everything." Like, and people were concerned, like, "Oh, Whole Foods is going to lose its personality, and there's going to be things are going to be so much different." And I was like, "Nah, I didn't think so." I was like, "Nah, I think everybody's blown out of proportion." I was like, "I think we'll probably be the same store for the most part." And originally when I started at Whole Foods, there was a lot of different things going on, like in comparison. Like I don't know how far of a reach the grocery store Wegmans has, but Whole Foods kind of had that vibe in a lot of ways. Like graphic design that was made in house. Like we had a graphic designer doing all our work, making the signage, doing really cool things, and a lot of personality and character to the store. The signage was cool. It was fun. And then like very, very communal aspect in the whole store in a lot of ways. Like I remember being part of the front end and it being on the register, and like we'd go like so many of the employees get there to have house parties, like things going on, just a lot of cool vibes going on where you're like really kind of, I know I said I was burnt out, but I was also really happy with the environment and like who I was working with, the people I was working with, and everything kind of being a communal effort in certain ways. We also did I'm giving you a lot of examples. What the hell does this have to do with pro wrestling? Just stick with me here. But I since I was in produce weekends, I would do what do they call it? There's a term for it, but basically, I would have shop set up, and I'd be cooking or making things samples for customers going on the weekends, and it was such a cool aspect of the job. I'd be like, whether that I was sautéing stuff like zucchini noodles or doing different samples, and that was my job for Saturday at Whole Foods, uh, and it was neat. Like it felt special, unique. I remember during the summer I'd go and grill Mexican street corn, and what a blast that was! Just staying outside, cooking up corn and giving it to people and stuff. It was really really cool. Very very into the community. The East Liberty area of Pittsburgh, and people really like going. And now, granted, it's a grocery store, so it's just you get chaos, you get your nut job, you get all that stuff happening. But it was cool. I was really proud to work at Whole Foods. It was, even though I was just a grocery guy, but stacking apples and organizing avocados and what have you. But really enjoyed the job. Uh, and yeah, I didn't think too much was going to change when Amazon bought it. And there were some positive changes when it happened. Big pay raise, like life changing pay raise happened, uh, big time, and it was great. Man, like my whole I was able to, I think, did I move to a different place at that time? I think I did. Yeah, I totally did. I moved in the apartment on an apartment by myself because of my money got better. It was good. However, however, graphic design, the unique signage, the identity that the store had, a lot of it got washed away. The, they cut out the graphic designer, no longer there. Um, we still had a sign person, but everything was what's the term? God, gosh, uh, homogenized a lot of ways. Just everything felt bland, similar, nothing special about it, and it's still like that now. Uh, the aspects of people getting together and feeling like a communal aspects, it's still there. You still have employees and coworkers you like working with, and you still have that loose kind of fun dynamic. But it definitely got lost amongst Amazon coming in, where you have Prime shoppers going around buying, shopping for customers. And you wear a barcode that needs to be scanned, and you have to go search for stuff for customers that aren't even there, and it takes away from what you're actually doing on the floor, and really changes the dynamic and the the flow of what Whole Foods really was about, and cool stuff there. Like a lot of our cool local stuff, we'd get like local produce coming from the area, and like I was trying to do a little research before here, and it says online that there's more of a local and regional focus with some of the stuff that they get in. But to be honest, at the store I'm at, I don't see that. We had a lot more local stuff before Amazon really sunk its teeth into the company. And yeah, so while the pay has been great uh, and a lot better than what it was, uh, the unique aspect of what made it a really cool and fun place to work, lot got lost. It was a bummer. You know, I we still kind of reminisce, some of the people that still work there, that worked there nearly 8 or 7 years ago, still reminisce about how cool it was to work at Whole Foods before Amazon got bought. And you know, so there's pros and cons that go with it. But like as an identity, the identity got lost. And I think WWE, when Triple H took over, it was really cool. Like good feelings, positive feelings, good outlook stuff. And even like TKO kind of purchasing it at the same time felt really positive in certain ways. Like, oh, okay, some more stability going into play. But it's if you're looking at things, look how different everything is shifting. The prices of tickets are insane. The live events are cut down, in comparison. It's more just televised events that you're going to get with WWE and PLEs. Um, but the concern is how much is this going to wash out um, the product uh, for fans? Like how much, it's a blue collar kind of thing that everybody can really engage into. And sure, people can still do that to a basis by tuning in on Netflix or watching on, oh my God, what channel is SmackDown on now? Let me help me out here. USA, yeah. But like to get that uh connection you get when you go to a live wrestling show, there going to be some less opportunities for certain fans to do that now because the ticket prices are so high. If you're a dad with two kids and a wife and you got to want to go to the wrestling show, WWE event, you're tossing out a lot of money, like to go. And uh, can be it's an expense, and especially WrestleMania now too. So man, um, it's just something WWE's really has to keep an eye on. Um, I know Sean Ross Sapp. Well, before I get to that, let me say, let me give you a little example. So I did want to look at Whole Foods and see what has changed, and if it's been a positive thing over financially for the company. And according to this article here, it sure has. And I assumed it was a financial success for the growth of the business. Um, So this article here is by bizjournals.com, written by Sahar Chamas. Uh, and this was back in October 15th, 2024. This and it says Whole Foods Market says it's clocked big growth in years since Amazon acquisition. So, the company said at this juncture it has 535 locations with 70 more stores in the pipeline. So, the key takeaway I wanted to say about this was Whole Foods Market Incorporated said this week it has increased sales by more than 40% since the 2017 acquisition by Amazon.com. It didn't provide a dollar amount for the gain, but the 2017 Whole Foods Market had about 16 billion dollars in sales. So you can only imagine if that's a 40% increase. Let me do quick math on my handy dandy phone slash calculator. So zero point 0.4 times 16. Oops, times 16. So that's 6.4. So about, if you're going by that article, it says about 22.4 billion is what they've been making with its Amazon by being acquired by Amazon. So I mean, from a financial standpoint, that's good. And I'm sure WE is looking at everything when it comes to, hey, what's our bottom line? How can we cut some of the quote unquote fat and raise our revenue? So, hey, let's put Slim Jim on the wooden tables that get pulled out. Let's put marketing on the canvas. Let's my gosh, what's the other big thing that they did? Let's have Prime bottles sitting at ringside. Let's really embrace the marketing aspect. Something Vince was very apprehensive and like completely no about, obviously, because we never had logos and sponsorships on the canvas. Vince stayed away from all that stuff. And honestly, a lot of the marketing stuff I'm pretty darn fine with. Like, there's in the grand scheme of things, that does not bother me. I think that my biggest issue is the ticket prices and making it accessible for a great amount of people instead of a select amount of people. Now, granted, if you look at the sales, you look at everything, W has not missed really too much of a beat as fact as they've grown, probably. So them cutting, employees and things like that, it makes sense. But I would, if I were WE, that candle can only burn so much before you burn out. And I think that can definitely happen with what WWE is doing in regards to maybe goodwill with talent, goodwill with the fans, and being a product for everyone. And keeping sure that I think they have to be very conscientious of making sure you're churning out stars and you're making those stars giving them the freedom to be who they are and create that connection in certain ways that could get lost in a corporate environment. I mean, like you would think that a product like that Vince was doing was more in this bubble than anything else, like homogenized kind of some like really bland character stuff that Vince began getting note of, very one note characters. Nowadays the characters are good and there's a lot of fun stuff to enjoy on Raw or SmackDown and a lot of star potential. I just hope that W doesn't lose that connection and that ability to do that. I think if I had one or a couple suggestions, I'd say, hey, take a step back and take a stick your finger in the air and see where the wind's blowing, because you want to be. Granted, you're a huge company, you're growing, you're a part of a bigger thing that you have to answer to stakeholders and blah 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 blah. But at your core, you're telling simple stories with fascinating characters, and you got to keep to the heart of that. And you also have to be mindful of everybody's financial situation at the time. You to an extent, you want to have obviously the success that a Whole Foods has with Amazon. But I think something that I know from being on both beats, the Whole Foods beat and the pro wrestling beat, that you don't want to lose that connection because is what makes you unique. So there's my hotline today. How about that one? Pretty. Never thought I'd have those worlds colliding, but sure enough, they do. My shoot job and dirty dirt cheap job. So I know right now, Brass Media is going live as I'm recording this. So if you haven't checked out that yet on your feed, be sure to do so. I think I got to post a couple of these on the actual audio feed, the hotline. So you'll get a dump on there if you tune in from the audio version of these. But yes, thank you all for tuning in. Going to try to set up a couple more interviews here. If you haven't checked my LJ Cleary interview out, please do so. It's a really, really fun interview. You'll really like LJ after hearing what he had to say. Just a nice kid and somebody that's very organic and has a very strong connection with fans that people will see down the line too. It's crazy. Here's a little bit before I go. So to promote the interview, I shared a little clip on Reddit of all places. Now, if you're not familiar with Squared Circle Reddit, they're not the most positive group of folks. They're very cynical and critical, funny to an extent. These nerds behind there, well, they can throw some zingers out and kind of cut to the core too. I've posted several things on there, and they've kind of hurt my feelings sometimes, but it's still pretty funny. Anywho, when I posted this LJ Cleary clip, I was expecting a lot of fans to poo-poo on it, so to speak. Here, there was so many comments that loved AJ Cleary and was very supportive of him. So I'm like, wow, that says something right there. I'm gonna have to actually message him and tell him about that because I was very impressed by that. So check out that LJ Cleary interview. More to come on Wrestling Media. We'll see you tomorrow here on the hotline. And always remember, call 1-900-909-9900.